Hey, how you doing? Ricardo here. So life is kind of like a bit treacherous right now. It's my bad. I just ate some food. So there's many different things happening right now, especially here on the planet, as you know. Apparently we're going through a recession. So no, apparently I feel that, Um, but it's definitely a lot harder. I'd say, emotionally and mentally harder. Physically in the past, but now it's mentally, emotionally harder. Society doesn't really help us to try to become the best version of ourselves, try to become the best person that we can be. We got to figure that out on the fly. But good thing we have a universe, right? So the universe is above society, above the government. So we have to hang our hats on loving God because and working with God, and understanding God, and understanding nature of reality. And I think that's the one thing that I wish I would have done more doing before my pre awakening, before I awakened. Because I wanted to believe in God. I grew up in a Catholic home, and so I always kind of feared God and didn't want to step on anybody's toes. Instead, that left me hanging in the background. That left me living not a good life, not a fulfilling life. Because I didn't go after the things I wanted to go after. My heart said, I want this, I want that, I want this, and I didn't go for it because I was afraid. What the reactions would be from people, what people might think, or what they might do to me if I do. So, but I look back at it, not it wasn't that bad. What I mean by that is like some of it was actually a good thing by having that mentality, having that mentality was good in the beginning. But once my life evolved, it had to change, and I didn't change. And so I got the same circumstance. So I figured I can turn it on. You know, but just like in sports, if you turn it off, you can't just turn it on. You got to keep it on. You know what I'm saying? Like if you keep it on, it's easier to go. Like why do you need to turn it off? Well, obviously, we if you don't understand it, you don't understand it. But what I mean by that is like every day is a working process on yourself. You got to go after the things that you want, and you don't have to force it, but just start. By starting and just by going not going out, I going after just by making an attempt, that's going after your dreams. So when I say go after, it doesn't mean you have to go 100 miles an hour like towards that and just like totally forget everything else. It's just like just start it and just like make an attempt, and then see what happens. It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys watch football, it's kind of like the read option. You just do something and then wait, see what the universe or see what the surrounding environment responds to it, and then from that you learn, and then from that you read it again. You do something and then read. Okay, what happened? Okay, this happened. Okay, do the same thing the next day. Do something, read and react to what happened. It's the same. That's how I live my life. And so I don't do it logically, but I just read and react. I do something, I do what I feel, in the moment, and I read and react. Okay, but that's probably not a good thing to do. You see, feelings like you can't. Sometimes you have to let your feelings understand that you can't do what you feel like you want to do. Because we all have feelings. We all feel like we want to do something, but majority of us we do it logically. We're like, oh, we're not gonna do. I'm not gonna do that because it's a bad outcome. Okay, that makes sense, but your feelings doesn't know that, Because so what happens is if you don't do it, not that I say you have to do everything that you feel, but I'm saying that you have to go. You have to make your feeling because your feelings is very powerful. So it can either work for you or work against you. And so if you always use logic, it's going to work against you because it's like a baby. It's like anything is like a baby, but like it's like having a child. Like if you don't work with it, like why should I help you? You don't listen to me. That's the same thing with the feelings. So it's like I had to do that a lot the past 2 years. Like, and believe me, I had a lot of like negative feedback from the world, from people. But at the same time, my life is a lot better now because now my feelings is so much more like have clarity. It's like okay, like even if I feel something, my feelings knows that like it's gonna be a negative outcome, so there's no need to do it. Because if you don't do that, then you're gonna be fighting with yourself. You're gonna feel like you want to do something, and then you're gonna be like, no, no, I don't want to do it. And you're gonna feel like very and sooner or later it's gonna backfire because then you're gonna follow your feelings. It's gonna be like, oh shit, this is a good time to follow your feelings, and boom, you have a big negative repercussion, and then from there you're gonna be like, oh shit, I'm never following my feelings or my heart again. And now you're fucked. Now you can't follow your heart anymore. Well, not anymore, but it's gonna be harder because you did it at the wrong time, or not the wrong time. You did it too late. You can't wait. You can't continue doing something, and then do something else and then expect a good outcome. You have to practice it, you know. So and do go off you. You don't need to listen to me. What I mean by that is like just do off you. Like you are a universe inside of your body. So if that's the truth, you know, they're like a mini universe. If that's the truth, you have to work on yourself. You know, I can't tell you this or that. You know, just like listen to God, follow God, pray to God. You know, I always pray, and I don't force the prayer. You know, I just whatever comes out. You know, and then I pray. But like I pray to God to help me. You know, I pray to God to guide me and to hopefully make the right decisions. You know, and I follow my heart. I follow my intuition. My intuition wants to go here, wants to do this, wants to do that, and I follow it, and I get a good outcome out of it. Even if it's a negative outcome, it's a good outcome because I'm like, oh shit, now I see now, you know, because right now I know so much about like reality and so much about life and so much about people because I made the attempt, you know, to follow my heart, follow my intuition. And then I got a feedback from the world. And that feedback lets me know, oh shit, this is the truth, you know. It's not logic, you know, it's not like, oh, I believe the world is this way. No, this is the truth because that's what's coming to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't think how I think the world should be. I just realize how the world is because that's the feedback it gave me, you know. So I'm not saying I know everything, but at the same time, I know that like right now we're in a world where people are not living their best life. It's just that simple. Majority of the people, they're not. They're in their phones, all over their phones, doing stuff, social media. You know, they're not following their heart. I know that for 100% fact. Maybe in another state, but here in Washington, yeah, they're not. No, a majority of people are gonna have a bad life in the next 2 years. You know, because they're not doing what it takes to need to live a good life. And I'm sorry if I'm being Mister Nice, not Mister Nice Guy, but the truth is the truth. You know, so. But at the same time, maybe you need that because I needed that. I needed a kick in the butt, you know, to get me on the right path. You know, sometimes you may need that, you know, so that may not be a bad thing, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, we're here in this life, you know, and we have to do our best. You know, we can't listen to other people. You know, like for example, for me, like some people talk about guided meditations, like that helps them, or they want you to do guided meditation. Some spiritual YouTubers, but that doesn't work for me. You see what I'm saying? Like guided meditation is too boring for me. It doesn't work. I can't. It does. I can't explain it. It does not work. So you have to understand yourself. You know, some things work for you, some things don't. You know, you can't go to a teacher. That's why you listen to somebody. Take the information that resonates with you and I leave the affirmation out of it. You know, you can't say or don't be like, oh, I don't believe in this. What this person is saying, so I don't believe all of it. No, take some of it. You don't believe everything. You know, for me, I take bits and pieces from everybody. You know, and I incorporate it into my life. You know, and so that's how I got to where I am today. And sure, I'm not living the best life externally, but internally, I'm living well a lot better because. But internally, I'm living in a heaven because I'm following my heart, like I said. So everything's coming. I know that. You know, just got to do me, do what I do, and so it's coming. And slow and steady wins the race, like I said in my previous YouTube video. But it is what it is. You know, you just got to do you, and then whatever happens, happens. So that's simple. I try. That as long as I try, that's it for me. So anyway, that's how I want to talk about. Thank you guys for listening. Comment if you share anything, or you're gonna comment, leave a comment. But I don't even know what this video is supposed to be about. I just kind of just rambled, but hopefully you got something out of it. You know, make sure you take your time and just do the best that you can, and pray to God. You know, always pray to God to help you. You know, because that's what I took for granted. You know, and family too. But Mostly God. I took it for granted. Building a relationship with God. I thought I could do it by myself, but you can't do it by yourself. No, sirree. Cannot do it by yourself. If you learn anything for today, you can't do it by yourself. You need people. You need, especially God. Especially God. If you don't trust people, at least trust God. Because if you trust God, then you will trust people, the right people. You know. So start with that. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.